What's up, Magnetic Men Club community? We're here again with another live. We're testing it out on Friday this time. Let
Yes,
us
sir.
know if you guys want to see this on another time, or if you guys are able to make this like on the weekends or even some other time during the week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Let us know what the best time is for you. And so we really just want people here asking questions.
We'll do a new live every day. How about that?
For sure. Okay. Sorry, I had some feedback there.
No problem.
All right. So today's topic was women's shit tests and how to ace them. I mean, it's not really specific to women. I mean, because men do their
Right.
own little shit tests and stuff like that too. That's something we're going to talk about today.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I think first things first, like what exactly is, in your own words, a shit test?
Yeah, so it's cool. We did a video on this, but really, a shit test is really it's how women will test a man's frame. Okay, of how is
Okay.
he coming in on whatever the interaction is. So if he's just blindly walking up to her, doesn't really hasn't really matter. You're going to come in with two different frames. If you are matching, say, like on Tinder or Bumble, those are two different frames. But really,
Okay.
she's testing you, whether she knows it or not. Most women know it, but for whatever reason, she's going to test you to make sure that what you present yourself as, you are.
Okay. So I think the way that I've kind of come to understand this too is like it's kind of like she's intentionally provoking you to kind of size you up, figure you out. Like it's kind of like how they figure you out, right? So like they want to see kind of what makes you tick, more or less kind of how you react to certain things to make sure you're worthy of them. Like they actually want to make sure
Correct.
that you're worth their time.
Yeah, what a lot of guys don't really understand, or maybe they do and they don't like to admit it, is women have the control over sex. Women
Right.
control sex, men control relationships. Well, in order to get into the relationship, there's got to be the sex part first. But women, inherently being the weaker sex, meaning if she just had sex with anybody, there's a higher probability of her getting pregnant, all this stuff. She wants to find the best option for her. And by just doing little shit tests, just basic ones, she's able to weed out a lot of these guys very quickly.
Right.
And we'll go into some examples that personally I've dealt with in my past. And I'm sure a lot of women, if they're watching this, or guys, you'll be like, oh, yeah, something like that happened to me. So
Yeah.
all they're doing is just making sure that you are who you present who you present yourself to be. And the idea is you come in at two different frames. So in the video, we talked about this. Let's say you go and you talk to a girl you don't even know. You just walk up to the bar, say, hey, I'm Jared, whatever. Her frame is in her mind, oh, great, another guy coming to talk to me. He wants to sleep with me or he wants to date me. That's her frame.
Yeah.
That puts her at a higher level.
Right.
Your frame, depending on who you are, would be, I'm good looking, I got shit together. She should be lucky I'm talking to her out of all the girls in the bar. Well, then in his mind, his frame's higher. And at the end of
Okay.
the day, at the end of this conversation, whoever's frame is agreed to wins. That's really all a shit test is I'm testing what you say. Depending on how you react, I may agree with it. That's really all it is. And
Okay.
so women are very good at it because a lot of men think when they say something that may challenge them, they get defensive, they might get argumentative, they may disagree and start coming up with all these other excuses. Well, they failed the test because
Right.
you just proved to her that her frame is higher because now you're actually telling her why you're such a good guy, and you're kind of explaining yourself to her
Yeah.
when so it's really interesting on how the dynamic works, and you only get one shot at it typically, unless she has a very high attraction for you. you only really get one chance at it, and that's it. If you fail
No,
it,
definitely,
you're
yeah.
pretty much done.
Especially
So,
early on too. Like if you just barely met this
yeah.
girl and she's actually shit testing you, and like you didn't
Mhm.
pass the shit test, you're most likely not going to take that relationship any farther. It's just most likely not going
Oh
to
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
And so,
Most women I've talked to in the past, whether it's during my own personal relationships, even my friends that are girls, they always say that if they're consciously doing a shit test, usually they always do the same shit test to different guys. It's their
right,
go-to. And depending on how they react, that's going to let them know right there if they're going to get another shot or even go to that next stage.
right, 100%. And
Yeah.
so that's the big thing too, is it can be like little simple things too, like even whether it's like you were in a seasoned relationship, you've been at it for a while, or like because like if she feels like you're kind of getting off your game, you're kind of getting lazy, she's gonna start shit testing you. Like
Right.
immediately, she's gonna start trying to size you up and figure out, oh, is he still the guy that I married? Is he still the guy that I wanted to be with? And so it
Yep.
can happen at any phase in a relationship. And like it's just little simple things too. Like when a woman comes in and she's like, okay, well, I bet you didn't even miss me while I was gone. Or do you think I'm pretty, and that kind of stuff too. Just like she's shit testing you.
Yeah.
And so how you react to that, like if you kind of act in a way where you're like, oh no, you're gorgeous, or no, of course I missed you. That's not how I am. I'm not that kind of a person. So
Right.
that's the wrong way to handle that. Like
Yeah.
you actually want to, like, sarcasm is your best friend when it comes to this kind of stuff too. It's like actually being sarcastic in a situation. So just in your own words, like what kind of scenarios have you been in? Like what kind of examples do you have of a shit test?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot, but I'll give one example where it was a shit test with no words. And so women can shit test you by saying nothing. So it's
Right.
kind of interesting. So this was years ago when I was on, different dating apps and stuff. And I met this girl. She's about 45 minutes away from me. We matched and I sent a message, whatever the message was. I don't remember what it was. And she saw it because at that time they had that little thing with the eye where you can see they read it, but didn't respond. I'm like, all right, cool, her loss, no big deal, whatever. A week goes by. She responds, hey, I'm good, like nothing. Hey, I'm good. How's everything going? So we started our dialogue. Anyway, we agreed to meet. I went to go see her. And her words after we sat down and started talking, she's like, I can't believe that you're one of the only few men that actually passed my test. I'm like, what are you talking about? She says, if I'm on dating sites, I purposely wait generally 3-4 days or whatever. I purposely wait because 9 times out of 10, they know I read the message. They'll send 30 messages right after that. And they all get saltier, they get bitter, all to the point is, well, you're ugly anyway. So they all get emotional. And she said, you didn't do that. You didn't even send a second message. I said, yeah, no, I just figured you weren't interested. No big deal.
Just moved on.
So that's a way that they can shit test you and ask. I'm willing to bet you most women, that's one of their shit tests, whether it's on a dating site or a guy DMing them or whatever. Even if you met this girl in passing and you get, exchange numbers, I'm willing to bet you most of them will wait X period of time to see how your messages are. Hey, Michelle, nice to meet you today. And you don't say anything. Hey, well, it's good. Yeah, maybe you got my message. I'm not sure. Just saying hi. And they keep going. You've already diminished your frame. So that's a way women shit test without saying anything. They do nothing and just watch you implode on yourself.
And yeah, I think that's exactly one of the main reasons I've seen too, like just kind of doing research on this stuff too, and dealing with this in my own life and stuff too, is she'll just basically ghost you for a little while. Like just to kind of try and test your attraction to her. And she also wants to see if she's even attracted to you. And so like women are attracted to your confidence if it's genuine. Yeah. And so they're not attracted to somebody who's insecure. They're not attracted to so that's exactly why they do these tests. And so they actually are trying to see if you're insecure, see if you're confident, see if you're comfortable in your own skin. See if you have your own direction and purpose in life, because if you do, like, she doesn't want to mooch. She doesn't want somebody who's just going to come to her every time he needs money, or come to her every time he needs somebody to take care of him emotionally. She'll test you emotionally. Well, that's one of the big ones too. And so I think that that's a really good example of that for sure.
Yeah, and I had another one. This is another girl I was, talking to a few years ago, and we got to the point where I asked her out. Yeah, I'd love to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I said, great, meet me. I wanted to make it a public place just so she felt comfortable. And it was like a bar or whatever. I said, meet me here at 7:00. Ooh, I don't like that place. I gave it a couple minutes. I was like, tough. I'm buying. I'll see you at 7:00.
Oh, that's great.
She showed up, had some drinks. She's like, I can't believe you're one of the few, again, I've heard, like, if a guy, I always say that. She goes, this is one of my tests, is if a guy's willing to change his plans that fast for me, I don't want anything to do with him, because he can't even make a decision and stick with it. And we ended up dating for probably, 6-7 months or so, but that was another test. And I've talked to women that's one of their go-tos is, I'm just going to say, I don't like this place, or I don't want to meet you at 7. I'll meet you at 9 or whatever. They're going to try to change it to test how you're going to respond to it.
Right.
And so that's just another way women will shit test you, to just kind of weed out the guys she just doesn't want to deal with. So, I thought that was interesting. And as this was, again, years ago, and as I've developed more and getting into coaching and stuff, I realized the psychology behind it, but it makes a lot of sense for women more so to test men.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, you can't be mad about it. I mean, it really isn't a bad thing. And I know you mentioned in the video too, which the video is actually down below in the description. You mentioned in the video that it's a good thing. Like, this is something, like, it's kind of like a call to action, I think, in some certain ways. So why do you think, in your own words, that women shit test men in general? And why do you think it's maybe a good thing versus a bad thing?
Well, I think it's really a good thing, because if she's testing you, then she has some competency towards you. She has either an attraction or some draw. Maybe you just went right up to her in a bar, which just doesn't happen. So there's something about you that is alluring enough for her to test, just to see, okay, how is he going to react to these? If she doesn't do any of those, and she's just being nice and using one-word answers and stuff, she's tolerating you. She doesn't know how to get out of the situation, and she's looking for, like, her best friend in the back or somebody to, get her out of the situation. So if you've never been shit tested, but like, oh, women talk to me all the time, they're tolerating you. That's the difference. They have no real attraction to you. They're just being nice and trying to figure out a way to get out of that situation.
Right.
You don't really test people if you don't really like them. Like, why do I test this? There's no reason to test a guy you don't like. On the flip side, if you're a super high value man, let's just say Brad Pitt walks into the bar, do you think any girl's going to shit test him? No, because then you're talking about frames. You go back to frames. You go back to your sexual marketplace value. And that's a good example of, women control sex. So back to your question is, why do women do it? Now, women control the sexual marketplace. On average, they have the power. They're the choosers.
Right.
And so it makes sense of them being the choosers. They're going to shop around, and kind of test the merchandise.
Well, the thing is too, is like, look at what they deal with on a daily basis. Oh. Like, they can't go to a grocery store without getting sized up in some way, shape, or form. So most of them, even just walking down the street, going for a jog, like, they can't find any peace with this stuff, because there's so many men out there that are just thirsty. They're just kind of beta men. They're just like simps, for lack of a better word. Yeah. And so there's just so many of those guys out there. Like, she'll go post a picture on Facebook and it's just like 300 likes.
Yes.
So they can't ever get away from it. So she can't waste her time. She has no time
Right.
to waste when it comes to this. And so this is
Right.
really what she's trying to do, is figure out, are you even worthy of her time? Because
Right.
she can only put her time in so many places, just like all of us. Our time is finite, right? And like I said, when you look at the competition out there, this is why you want to have a really solid frame. This is why you want to focus on carrying yourself with confidence and making sure you have direction and stuff in life too. This is exactly what we do in our program.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important, though, is because you have so many people out there who are technically your competition, but most of them are out there doing that stuff. And so that's why she doesn't want to waste her time. That's why when you get called to action, you got to step up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's if guys just realize that, you know, everybody has a sexual marketplace value. Everybody does, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you're talking to a very, say, young, attractive woman, well, her value is a lot higher. She has more people that are pining for her. So she's the chooser versus if, you know, you're, let's say, not throwing shade on older women. I'm just saying, like, say you're a 50-year-old woman. Well, your options get a little bit lower, but you still get options. You're still the gatekeeper to sex. All women are. So it makes sense that all women of all age groups are going to want to test to make sure that they have the best option, or at least get you to that area of, okay, I can take this guy seriously. He passed these dumb little tests.
Right.
He didn't get emotional. He didn't get overly reactive. He kind of realized it was cute. He played with me a little bit about him. And that's all you want to do, is keep it light, keep it natural. Let him know you're really not bothered by the tests. And the more you interact with people, the more you'll start realizing this is a test. You know, a lot of guys will think that an insult or flat out rejection is a test. No. She rejected you. She flat out insulted you. Those aren't tests. So I know talking to some guys, it sounds very confusing. It sounds very like, oh my God, there's just so much to learn on this. And it's really not. Just kind of play with it.
Yeah.
Talk to them as if, you know, you're just talking to some girl that you really don't have an attraction with. Treat everybody the same. If you start noticing she's testing you a little bit, that's a good thing. That's very good on the front end. If she's testing you in a relationship, something's wrong. Like, the longer you're in a relationship, the less tests you should get.
Right.
Really should be the last thing. So
100%. And it's still a call to action, a call to step up and stuff too. And it really depends on how you want that relationship to go. And it's like, if you want to stay in that relationship, you want to continue to have a good relationship, it's just a call to step up. And so that's really all you have to do as a man ever, is just hold your frame, step up, make sure you have your vision, make sure that you aren't insecure and you have high self-esteem. And so that's one of the big things too, is like, go to the gym, make sure that you're working out. It's like sarcasm is your friend in these situations. Make sure you're using sarcasm, make sure you keep it playful. And so staying positive about it, not taking it personally. I think those are really important points here too. So, I mean, do you think that women test men knowingly or unknowingly? Do you think it's like a subconscious thing? Or do they intentionally provoke?
They know. They know. Like I said, most women have one or two or three go-to tests that they're always going to use. And then some of them might unknowingly know they tested a guy. Right. Because they feel something's wrong in his frame. They see a chink in his armor or something, and they may do something not knowing it's a test, but then realizing she gets a result, she's like, oh, all right, let me do this again. So yeah, they might walk into a test unknown, but when they realize the result of what she just did created a negative reaction, she's going to do it again. She's going to be, right. So
until you tell her to stop.
You got to watch out for this. Huh?
Until you tell her to stop, man. It comes down to boundaries and stuff too, like being able to protect your boundaries. If she sees that some of your boundaries are movable, she's going to move them. She's going to test them. That's exactly what's going to happen too. Is if she sees that you have an open gaping wound, she's probably going to dig her heels into it a little bit. And so that's just really just to see how you react. She wants to size you up and figure you out. And so if she sees something makes you tick, she's going to push those buttons.
Yeah, I think Richard Cooper kind of always uses that analogy, death by 1,000 concessions or 1,000
Right.
cuts or
Yes.
something
Yes.
like that, where, you know, if you don't check it and you keep going closer into her frame, eventually she leaves you and you're like, I did everything for her. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's why.
Well, at the end of the day, like you're either triggering her instinct to mother you, or you're triggering her instinct to submit to you. And so, I mean, that's really, it's just the energy that you're putting out there. And so, if you're kind of acting feminine, you're getting lazy, you're not doing much around the house anymore, she's going to see that and she's going to start testing you. She's going to start to figure out exactly how far she can push you. And so, that's like I said, it really is always just a call to action. And so, you got to keep it playful. You got to keep it sarcastic. If it becomes something that's maybe harmful in your relationship, then I mean, you can look at what your next steps are there. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's a call to action. She's trying to provoke you on purpose. And I mean, as we kind of discussed here too, I think they do it probably somewhat intentionally for sure.
Oh, 1,000. Yeah. There's no doubt.
And so should men embrace the call to action, or should they call her out? Like if they know that she's actually doing a shit test, they've identified it. Do you think it's a good idea to call her out, or is it just a good idea to just embrace the call to action and keep it playing?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the type of man you are. Okay, the type of frame that you have. So I usually tell guys, or I guess the rule of thumb is there's 3 different ways to beat out the shit test for the most part. And then there's really a 4th. So that maybe to answer the first part, if you want to call them out, you can do it in a kind of a playful way. So she just says something like, yeah, I bet you say this to all the girls. You can say, you could kind of squash it. I think you're missing an opportunity, but you could say, oh, this is a shit test. I mean, can we stop playing? Can we be adults here? I mean, but that does come across a little defensive. So I never suggest that you call them out. I suggest that you call them out through making them realize you know it's a shit test and then putting it back on them. That's a better way to do it. So for an example, the 3 different ways is you can just ignore it. You know, she could just say something like, how many girls have you slept with? I'm just using an example. You could just ignore it. And technically you passed it because you didn't get reaction, you didn't get reactive, you didn't get emotional, you didn't get defensive, but you can only ignore so many questions so many times. So if you ignore it, bet your ass she's going to give you another test because she knows you just ignored it. And so if you ignore it, you do miss out on opportunities. You do miss out on an opportunity to let her know that, hey, I know this is a shit test. It's cute. It doesn't work on me. And that's a better way to handle it so that she kind of knows, all right, this guy is it. So that would be one example. And then another one is, which I like to do, is you either agree or disagree and then exaggerate.
Okay.
So an example of that would be, just so you know, Jared, I'm not going home with you tonight. I don't do that on the first date. I don't have sex on the first date. Well, you could, if you want to fail the test, you could be like, oh my God, no, I never even thought about that. You're a goddess. Why would I want to do that? I just want to get to know you and all this crap guys say.
Yeah, yep.
Or you can agree with her and exaggerate. So kind of a cute thing you could say is, oh yeah, no, I know I'm on my period anyway. Completely flip it. She's going to be like, what?
Reframe. Yeah.
You completely flipped it on her and you kind of let her know that, you exaggerated so much, like he's on his period. And so it kind of puts it back on her that realizes that's just silly. Do better, Mm-hmm. So agree or disagree and exaggerate is the second one. And then a third one is just misinterpret her question and redirect it.
Okay.
So an example of that might be is, hey, God, your shirt's really small, or I don't like that shirt on you, or whatever. And misinterpret, be like, oh, there you go again, thinking about getting me naked. Jesus. Excuse me, my eyes are up here. You completely misinterpreted what she said and turned it into
Right.
like slacks or something like this. And you flipped it on her.
100%.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
those two ways are better, just to kind of keep everything light, keep everything a little bit kind of banter a little bit up. And it lets her know that, okay, this guy's quick on his feet. This guy is a thinker. He's not really taking this seriously. And then it drops her guard enough to say, okay, he gets to level 2. Let's go have a drink or whatever it is. So
Right.
I always tell guys, just keep it light. Don't take it personal. She's testing you. It's a good thing. Don't take it personal. And at the end of the day, if you don't have a response for it, you could just use the fourth one. Like, I don't have a response for that. Can we be adults now? You could say that and just kind of with laughing. And you would let her know that it's a shit test. I don't have a great response for it, but can we just be adults? Can we just have fun? And that does work, but I think the number 2 and number 3 are a little bit better ways to handle that.
No, 100% for sure. And that's the thing too, is like, there's no really right or wrong answer here. It's just a matter of recognizing it and then being able to adapt your behavior to it. And so that's really all you can do. It's going to come over time. It's going to come situationally. And obviously it's really subjective too. And so the big thing is like, she's also the one that is grading the test. And so she might be giving you the test, administering the test, but she's also the one who's grading it. And so there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just a matter of whether you passed or not. And it's just this really subjective thing. And all women do it for different reasons. And they do it in different ways too. And so it's just not something that you can truly 100% prepare for in every single way. But it's always, like I said, just keep it lighthearted, keep it sarcastic, keep it friendly, and just embrace it. Like I said, because it's a call to action. Step up, keep your frame, don't get offended. Don't take it personally. That's just some of the big things for this, for sure. And that's how you're going to handle it in every single situation. And so as long as you can do that, even if you fail, what would you say, like, if somebody fails? Like, what kind of advice do you think you could give somebody if they feel like they're failing a shit test?
Well, you're done with her. So that part is, it's basically just, if they come to me after the session, let's just say like, oh my God, I bombed this. I would probably say, okay, the next time you're interacting, don't take it personally. Now, I want to go back, because if she is being mean, if she says you're fat or fuck off or I don't like you, she's being insulting. Well, even that, don't take it personally. Just exit, don't engage with her, exit. But those aren't shit tests. That's just her being a mean bitch. And that's fine. They're out there everywhere. But if he was honest with me and says, yeah, I got really defensive when she said my shirt's too small or whatever. Like I started telling her why it's too small or all this other crap. I would just kind of go to him and say, okay, look at the situation. Next time, keep it light, keep it kind of, keep that banter up. Recognize it's a shit test, and then just play with it.
Right.
It's fine. Just don't get reactive. Basically, if you don't get reactive and if you don't get defensive, you're fine. You're fine. You show no emotion to it. You're going to be fine. Absolutely. You might even say something completely stupid. Your shirt's too small. I love this weather. It's really blue outside. She'd be like, what? You're kind of ignoring it. It's over your head. That's fine. Say anything, but don't get reactive. Don't get defensive. You'll be fine.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Well, that's when she knows you're insecure. Like I said, I mean, at the same time, like, they really want you to be confident. They really want to make sure that you're worth their time. And if you're somebody who's insecure, if you're somebody who can turn on a dime or emotional, they just see somebody they're going to have to take care of. Yeah. And so they don't want to have to take care of you. They don't want to have to be your mother. Like, they don't want to have to that's why they shit test you in so many different ways, like whether it's mentally, whether it's emotionally, whether it's financially, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're going to shit test you in whatever way matters to them. And like I said,
Right.
they're the ones that are grading these tests. And so there's really no right or wrong answer here. But at the end of the day, yeah, you just got to stay calm. You just got to make sure that you're not taking it personally and embrace it, like we said. And so really, there's no right way to handle it. There's no wrong way to handle it. But there's these different strategies that we've kind of laid out in this call here. And so I think I would go back through this video and try and lay out some of those strategies, give them a try, see what works for you, see what you're most comfortable with. Like I said, just keep it lighthearted, keep it friendly.
We're going to post, I think it's 25 short, or we're going to condense them somehow on possible, things you could say when she says this. So we got those queued up. Right. So we're going to put a video out there, and they're just funny, banterous things you can say back to her. And then you can kind of play with those a little bit, and just different ways to pass the shit test. So some funny ones.
I think we could even make a guide about that too. Like if you guys want it, let us know in the comments below. If we made a guide that was basically like in each situation, kind of how to handle each situation, that's something that we could maybe even throw together too for the community.
Yeah, I think I did the top 25 most common shit tests and how to respond to them. And, one of them that was really funny, that Nate, my cameraman, he was just rolling. We had to stop video the way I said it. And I think I said it in two different frames. An example was, so how many women have you slept with? And then my response was, all of them. That was the end of it. They were like, what? I'm like, but you passed the shit test,
Oh, man, that's great.
So just different ways to just tell her, like, hey, it's none of your business, but all of them.
Well, she wants to make sure that you're not predictable, too. Like, if you act in the way that she kind of predicted you were going to act, that's kind of your opportunity to throw her off too. Like I said, you just be sarcastic. You don't have to tell the truth, or you don't have to tell some version of the truth. Get outlandish with it, man. Like get out, think outside the box, and like start coming up with some different scenarios too. Like write down some scenarios and stuff that you think you could spit at any given thing. Like I said, we could make a document or something like that to get you started, and then you can keep putting your different situations that you've dealt with in there too, and we can have the community kind of brainstorm around it and figure out exactly what we would do in each scenario. Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we have planned for the future here too. And so we're really happy that you guys are here. We see that you guys have been showing up for these lives throughout the week and stuff too. And so we're here to answer your questions. Like I said, if you show up live on the call, you ask in the comments over here, we're happy to answer them live on the call. And at the same time, you can go to our website. It's in the comments below, and you can book your free session here with Jared too to see if maybe you would be a good fit in the community. We have a whole network of coaches, and so it doesn't matter what you're struggling with, whether it's business, whether it's finances, whether it's trying to be a masculine man, whether you're trying to actually be in a better relationship with your man, with your woman, whatever it is. And at the same time, you're trying to survive divorce, a bad breakup, that kind of stuff too. We're here to help you. And so we have a community here for that stuff. We're making content around that stuff. And so anything you guys want to request that we do, we're happy to cover whatever topics you need. And so we'll be putting out some polls in the coming weeks. Make sure you answer those polls. We're going to have our newsletter and stuff going out too. So make sure you sign up for the newsletter on the website. We're launching the podcast and stuff. It's going to be mostly these lives and stuff. So if you want to listen to them in the background while you're at work or whatever, that stuff will be live in the coming weeks too. So we'll be live this next week, probably Friday again. We'll let you guys know what time. We'll actually be announcing that live as well. And we had the video that this topic was about too, referenced below in there too. And then we also have our Facebook group. Make sure you guys are in there because we're always in there engaging with each other there too as well. So did you want to say anything to sign us off here?
Yeah, like I said, you kind of hit the nail on the head on that. If you guys are struggling, not just with shit tests, but I'm just saying in general, in communication, in creating a better dialogue, a better environment for dating, for just regular relationships, and you're stuck in an area, there's something going on where you just can't move forward or something that's preventing you from doing that, getting into a good coaching program is really the best way to kind of unstuck that or figure out what your limiting belief is, so that we can create a new thought, and the new thought's going to create new actions, new emotions, and kind of help you level up into the direction you want to go. And that's the whole point of coaching. That's the whole point of what Masculine Men's Club, or excuse me, Magnetic Men's Club is. And we use the word masculine men, but I do want guys to understand you don't have to be this alpha. You don't have to do all that stuff. It's all about, in this particular video, is for shit tests, is just how to overcome them, how to recognize them. But really, more broad is it's just communication. It's just having fun with going out, being social, networking with people, and seeing where it goes. I mean, that's really what we're trying to do. And so that we want to give you the tools to do that, and the confidence to go out and just talk to strangers, talk to random people, and not get freaked out if some cute girl is giving you a shit test. You're like, oh, cool. I wasn't expecting this. This is awesome. Bam, 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 bam. You got a great mouthpiece on you. And then she's like, oh, Jesus. So that's all we're trying to do, is to make you, or give you, the tools that you need in order to live the best life that you want to live. And so, like I said, go down to our website, get into our Facebook group. Pretty much every day, or at least every other day, I talk about different concepts on coaching, different things around coaching, about dating and stuff. So they're a little bit long. I'm going to probably make them into video format, but you can always refer back to those, and it helps men with their limiting beliefs on things they think are true but really aren't true. And so with that, now I appreciate Chase. You're a great friend, and this is, I love these videos because we kind of go back and forth, and we start just kind of jiving on these things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, we've been getting a lot of feedback from the community on these lately too, and they've been we haven't had as many people live as we'd hope, because we want to have these conversations with you guys. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, we see that you guys are watching these lives after the fact too, throughout these weeks, and so that's what we're here for. Whatever topics you guys want us to discuss, if you guys want to show up for the conversation, we'd be more than happy to have you. And so that's really what we're here for. We're really just trying to create this community, get it off the ground, and make sure that we are really helping these guys. And really helping you guys, and whatever you guys are struggling with, whatever it is, that's what we're here for. And so, just
girls.
And girls.
And girls. We actually have quite a few women in our club, and that's fine. I've coached, I'm coaching 3 right now that are females, and they prefer to have a male coach. And so I'm like, great, let's do it. So if it's for girls too, if you guys are getting stuck in a certain situation and you want a guy coach, let's go.
It's all about what's right for you. It is. Yeah. And so that's why we've built this network. That's why we've actually assembled this all together. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of tools and resources coming for you guys in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that stuff. I'll make sure that we link everything below. Everything will be announced in the channel. Keep checking back with our community tabs. Make sure you're in the Facebook group, because everything we're doing will be announced there as well. Yeah. Make sure you get on our newsletter, so that way we can communicate with you there too. And so that's really, we're going to be ramping a lot of this stuff up. We're going to make sure that we have this content available in more places. We want to make sure that we get these lives and the audios from them up so that you guys can listen to them in the background. And like I said, just get help with that stuff. And that's what we're here for. So make sure you're asking those questions. Make sure that if you want some help, you need some help, you're trying to get unstuck, that you jump on the free call with Jared here. And that's all we have for you today, guys. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Jared.
Have a good weekend, guys. Talk to you.